The Princess Bride by S. Morgenstern, Chapter 1. Actually, it's by William Goldman. My mom gave me the book when I was 11, and it instantly became my favorite book ever. At least, my favorite book I'd read by the time I was 11. It had fencing, fighting, true love, you name it. But what changed my life was the torture. I was a weird kid. The book spends more time on torture than the movie does. The hero, Wesley, is captured and held prisoner in the pit of despair for months while he is tortured daily by the villain and sadist Count Rugen. Wesley never feels the pain. He pretends to feel the pain to trick the Count. Every time the torture starts, Wesley takes his brain away. He thinks only of his one true love, Buttercup. And that works until the Count uses the machine, the ultimate torture device. As much as Wesley tries to take his brain away, once the machine is turned on, he can't keep the pain from breaking free. And after having 1 year of his life sucked away, he cries like a baby. At 11 years old, I was already an outcast. But by 7th grade, I would spend most afternoons hanging out with my friend Mia after school. Mia lived up the street from me, and she was dirt poor, which didn't bother me. I was poor too, but obviously it bothered Mia. At school, she started telling everybody about how poor I was, how I had no father, how all my clothes came from a thrift store. She ensured that I got tortured daily. After school, every day, I would go home and cry to my mom, and she would make me feel better. But then the next day, I'd have to go to school again, and it was horrible. I tried to take my brain away, but I kept getting distracted by the kicks that came to the back of my chair or the spitballs landing in my hair. Wesley did not learn to take his brain away instantly. He had to practice. He had to focus on Buttercup. I practiced. I focused on the one good thing I had going in my life at the time, my mom. By 8th grade, I could take my brain away from all of it. I didn't try to make friends. I just hid and kept my brain to myself. I got through 8th grade and high school with no new torture, at least not of the social variety. My junior year of high school, my mom suffered a debilitating stroke, which was hard to deal with, especially mostly alone, as I didn't tell anyone at school. After Mia and other friends I had like her, I wasn't about to share anything personal with anyone. In college, I told no one about my mom's repeated strokes, my financial trouble, the fear I lived in that my mom might die. That meant I made no really close friends, but it was worth it to be able to keep whatever pain I had stored away. Besides, I had my mom. I would call her every day, go home most weekends. She always made me feel better. Shortly after college, I started dating Jason. He was the first boy I loved, and he was the first person I tried to open up to. When I told him about my mom's situation and how I had to help her sometimes financially or help take care of her, he had the reaction that I expected. That's messed up. Parents should take care of their kids. You shouldn't have to take care of her. I thought it safer not to argue, so I never did. Jason was the first guy I loved, and he said he loved me, and true love is perfect. And so I made sure that it was. We moved in together. We got engaged. 2 days before our wedding, my mom was diagnosed with terminal cancer. Jason hadn't come to the doctor's office, so when I got home, I told him the news. He said, "I'm sorry," and then he had other things to do. He had friends in from out of town that he had to hang out with, so we didn't discuss it any further. Mom told family, and I thought it best not to tell anyone else, not right before the wedding. I spent the next 2 days focusing on getting everything ready for the wedding, and it was a beautiful day. We had a great time. My mom had a great time. Mom stayed with us through her illness. I took her to radiation every day, gave her her shots, made sure she had whatever she wanted. Jason mostly stayed in his room. When we took Mom on a final family vacation, he didn't come along. When hospice told us she just had a couple days left, he didn't join us at her bedside. It was okay. I was with my mom. That was what mattered. Jason and I had our own kind of love. We didn't need to be together for it to work. Just like how Wesley only needed to think of Buttercup to feel better. My mom passed away 3 months after the wedding. I tried to keep my world together. I tried to keep my brain tucked away, but cracks started. Little shafts of darkness started breaking through. The telephone would ring and I'd think, there's Mom calling right before dinner as usual, before I'd remember, no, it wasn't her. Or I'd hear her say my name like she was right there and I'd turn, but she wasn't there. Over the course of the year following my mom's death, my world started to fall apart. As much as I tried to keep the pain away, the machine was on, sucking away. My mom was dead. The reality of it kept hitting me like a punch to the gut. She was dead, and unlike Wesley, no one would be bringing her back to life. I tried to open up to Jason, but that wasn't the way we were. We didn't discuss those kinds of things. I had always been okay with that before, but now I was alone. Mom had always been the person I could talk to about anything, the person who made me feel better, and now she was dead, and I was with a husband who didn't want to talk about it because we never had, because I had learned to take my brain away. Once the cracks started, they didn't stop. My carefully created fantasy world shattered. Not only could I no longer pretend that there was no pain, I could no longer pretend I was with my true love. He was not Wesley, I was not Buttercup. This wasn't a fantasy, it was real life. My brain was back, and I couldn't send it away again. I had lost so much more than a year. I needed it to change some things, like my whole life. What I had come to realize is that I had removed myself from the bad, yes, but also from the good. I had kept myself from living a real life. It's been 10 years since my mom died, since the safe place in my brain went away. I'd like to say that there's been no new torture, but to quote the movie, life is pain, and anyone who says otherwise is selling something. There have been some bad times, and there will be more to come. But now, when they come, I have a loving and caring husband who wants to talk about them with me. To be honest, usually more than I want to talk about them. But that's what we do in life. We get through things together. And when I need a little break, I learned my lesson, no more taking my brain away for good, but when I need an escape to a safe place, I can honestly say I can close my eyes and just think of my one true love. Or better yet, open my eyes because he is usually right beside me. Thank you.